All right, welcome to the channel and happy Easter. It's for most of you guys, you're spending time with your family and your friends, and so I'm glad that everybody's getting a break. Today, we're going to talk about how does low-income housing work. There's always a big distinction between Section 8 and low-income housing, and how you might approach that because they're kind of separate systems. Now, for the duration of this video, I'll let you know I'm in a little cabin here on a horse ranch. We sold the house, and so right now we're kind of surviving in medial circumstances. And I think this will be the last video I'm fixing to lease an office again. And for now, it'll be a lack of professionalism, but we'll just have to live with that. Besides that, to do a few introductions, I'm the owner of Section8Consulting.com. I am the largest YouTube creator for Section 8. I'm also ranked number one on Google as a Section 8 consultant with nearly 20 years experience. I deal with around 1,000 clients or less a year, helping people get homes, vouchers, homeownership program, low-income housing, affordable housing, and the many different variations that people discuss it. Okay, so I think today I want to create a little clarity about low-income housing because a lot of people ask me about this. They think simply that Section 8 and vouchers is the process you deal with when you deal with low-income housing, but it's not. So I've made some notations, and I'm going to go over that with you all real quick. So first of all, low-income housing, the truest form of it is going to be when a private landlord subsidizes part of his buildings. He accepts a LITCH, LITCH program, which are tax credits, and he will make an allocation of his units. In other words, around 30%. So if he has 100 units, he may allocate 30 of them to individuals that are low income. So how much of their income do they want, and what would you be paying in rent? Well, the calculation is rather simple. 30%. So if you were making 90,000 a year, then your rent calculation would be approximately 30,000, and then you would divide that number by 12. Now, of course, there are other mitigating factors that you may include in that to determine annual income derived from all sources, including but not limited to wages, a job, Social Security, for all household members who are over 18. And for instance, if you're the head of household with a two-person household earning 1,000 a month, and your spouse earns 500, your annual income would equal 18,000. If you receive public assistance such as welfare, TTP, the equal to the amount of money the agency providing your public assistance deems as appropriate for your housing costs. You also want to calculate your deductions. To determine TTP, your housing authority will allow you to subtract allowable deductions, better known as negative assets, from your annual income. HUD allows you to deduct $480 from your annual income for each dependent, 400 for each elderly or disabled family member. You can also exclude some medical expenses, and I'm not going to get deep into that, from your income. If you are a member of a two-person household with no dependents or elderly family members, you would not have any deductions. Once you've subtracted your deductions from your income, divide that number by 12 for a two-person household, and then I think you would have come up with around $18,000 annually with no deductions. Your income would be around 1,500. So let's talk about calculating the percentages. To calculate 30% of your monthly adjusted, and a keyword here, monthly adjusted gross income for a two-person household, no deductions. With no deductions, making 18,000 per year at 30% would be 1,500. Monthly equal payments of 450. Using this method, the public housing rent or TTP would be 450 a month. Each PHA has its own procedures. Now, this is a critical thing. People ask me all the time in these videos. So I'll let you know that every PHA, which means Public Housing Authority, better known as just Housing Authority, has its own procedures to calculate a renter's TTP. And many such examples, particularly when dealing with families with extreme low incomes or significantly less than 30% of their area median income. Now, just so we're clear about this, area median income means other people in the area that may be making less or more. Your TTP must equal 10% of your monthly income or a minimum rent of 25 to 50. That's right. There are still people from the 80s getting $25 to $50 rents. depending on the area of the housing authority. And so it really does depend on the area where the housing authority is. Once you've gathered your annual income, put some time into researching the income rules and specifics to your areas. And for that, you'd want to do an open public request. And basically, that's a formal letter to in-house counsel or their attorneys, if not the director of services. So that's a brief summary. Queen Charlotte, how are you today? By the way, I should have mentioned this early on. It's a live video. Y'all can chat with me, whether it's a TV, a tablet, whatever it may be. And again, happy Easter for you guys. So we're going to talk about some of the other comprehensive things that come along with low-income housing. So just to make that distinction, low-income housing is not where you use a Section 8 voucher or housing choice voucher, whatever it may be. So statistically speaking, housing policy is one of the main issues that local governments deal with. It encompasses several overlapping concerns, and it's pretty much to make sure everybody has a decent place to live. And it is a general priority, I think, of this particular presidency. Many of the regions around the country have affordable housing. You know, they were looking at that, and I think that the bigger issue we face now is with this pandemic. We tried to evict around 40 million people. I don't know if 40 million was the exact number, but we evicted a lot of people. Those people lost jobs. Now they're entering the market at a much more rapid pace than ever before. So I think that people are trying to approach low-income housing. And to be clear, low-income housing is also known by affordable housing. And then also you may notice that when you're trying to apply for low-income housing, that a lot of the buildings are mixed, which means they may accept vouchers or they may accept a low income and then determine from there. So just to go over some hot spots, California and New York top the list as far as worse off, along with Rhode Island. Most of your blue states, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Alaska, Maine, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, Louisiana, are all in a hot spot. For the states that are more preferable, it's going to be Idaho, Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Idaho, Montana, Arkansas, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama. And of course, that's pretty much your Midwest. So now, as another principle of this movie, video, you're welcome to ask me any questions you'd like to, and we'll get into that. Also, I'm going to be drawing to a conclusion the low-income aspect of this. You know, I think a lot of you were expecting this longitudinal loan. Look, it's 30% of your income. It's not a big mystery. So I just wanted to go over some of the deductions with you guys because, you know, it's Easter. People don't want to hang out for an hour. Anyways, I'm going to look at these comments on the video right now. Miss Renee Brown and Daddy, happy Easter. Well, thank you. Shelby Silverstein, hey, Jay, how are you today? My love and more. Oh, interesting name of the day. So good afternoon. How are you? Happy Easter. Tony McMillian, thanks for the info and all that you do. You appreciate it. Thank you for being the first person to thank me today. Y'all all know that I have this pet peeve about being thanked. I don't require it, but it's always just a matter of courtesy to thank people when they're trying to spend their personal time for free, educating you guys, you know. Queen Charlene, happy Easter. Well, thank you so much. Happy Easter to you. Original Elements, happy Easter. Mr. Mister says happy Easter. So happy Easter to all you guys. So I think now I'd like to incorporate a little bit of my personal life in the video, you know, just for a brief moment. As y'all know, I always veer off course. It's not always going to be about Section 8. Most of you guys know I've been on YouTube for over 10 years. I made over 500 videos. Even the people that, even at HUD itself, the actual federal agency, I've actually beat them on videos. You know, I've done this so long, it's almost second nature. So, so in new development, it looks like the housing market is starting to heat up. I don't think it's, you know, necessarily a bad thing for anybody. I just think that, you know, it's going to be problematic this summer. You know, most of you guys, if you're on the fence about whether or not you believe low-income housing or getting a voucher would be a bad idea, I would encourage you to rethink that concept before the summer hits. The summer is going to be extremely intense. There's an extreme shortage of housing, and if you're going to do something, you better do it soon. Okay, I give you guys warnings all the time, and if you look over the history of this YouTube channel, I have had a pretty much a 99% accuracy in telling you if I'm warning you that it's going to get nasty, then you better react. Before you go mow the lawn and go do yoga, think about getting out there and doing your applications. If you're struggling, you're not sleeping at night, you're depressed, you suffer from mental illness, you've got debilitating disabilities and other issues that make your complete reality just overwhelming, there are people like me out here, very few, that will work with you as a consultant. Many people know my reputation. It's not flawless. Let's make no mistake. Only about 93% of the time I'm successful. 7% of the time I fail. Sometimes I fail because I don't put because things happen, and sometimes I fail because some of my clients suffer from issues. I'll give you a good example. I was dealing with a lady out of New Jersey. Her name was Elsie, and she had she had a lot of issues with being, I don't know, stretches of reality, delusional maybe. She became adversarial as a client, and I had to let her go. Paranoid kind of kicks in. But I got to tell you something, guys. I've done this consulting work for a long time, and I deal with a wide range of people. Okay, it wouldn't matter if you're a gangster just out of Mexico, or if you're a proper woman out of New York and society. I try to relate to everybody, whether you're a former business owner that made millions and now you've been reduced to dealing with Section 8. It's important, you be able to connect. And I don't, unlike the few consultants that are left, I work with people that have schizophrenia, bipolar, and other issues. It's important. A lot of consultants don't want to deal with that. They like the easy cases. And so I think that anybody that has a reasonable expectation and is willing to learn and cooperate and not let their opinions and ideas get a hold of them, let their mind run wild. My job gets sometimes very difficult, because you deal with people that are skeptics. But I never truly worry about that, because I think if I was doing a terrible job, my channel would be filled with angry, pissed off people, and so would my reviews be that way. But it's anything but that. But anyways, I'm not here to defend my reputation. I just want to tell you guys, there's always a better way to navigate the system. One of the things you learn after you read policy, procedure, data manuals, Title 24, housing code, penal code. You're reading operational manuals for housing authorities that are issued by Nan and McKay and other issues. What you have is a 20-year collection like I have is probably over 10,000 manuals. And over time, what you start to realize is it's a broken system. But a broken system does work badly for most of us. But the neat part is, if you're like me and you understand the way I do, broken systems also reveal one gaping thing. They have a lot of gaping holes in them, okay, loopholes. And if you know how to jump through those things, you can actually, instead of waiting 15 years, you can actually preference yourself to get vouchers much quicker. Is it a guarantee? Absolutely not. Oh, by the way, here's one of our Hollywood stars. If you look closely, there's Miss Kitty. She's one of my rescues. Poor thing. We found her. The previous owners, of course, again, I'm sorry, tried to starve her to death and lock her in a little box, And she spent about 10 days in the hospital with IVs. Now she is. I call her Queen Bee now, because she's a beast, man. But she's extraordinarily loyal. This is the cat that I've given y'all photos on my YouTube channel. She went toe to toe with a 90-pound pit bull. So she ran between me and that pit bull and was prepared to give her a little life. So I got to tell you, she shows a lot of gravity. She shows a lot of I don't know, loyalty, I suppose. Considering what we went through to save her little life, I think she was worth every bit of $3,500. I could have got the newest iPhone or the newest 100-inch TV, but I prefer to spend my money on living, breathing things. So, anyways, veering off course. So it looks like we get some new comments here. Original Elements, I thank you, and your comments, you earned it. Well, thank you, Original Elements. And Kay Mustaz, happy Easter, and happy Easter to you and everybody else. So, one of the things I want you guys to focus on is there's essentially three systems running. Most of you are familiar, I think, for those of you that are older, are familiar with what we call Section 8. Section 8 is a little more. Well, let's actually structure this a little bit. So a lot of you guys refer to HUD as being everything. It's not. Congress issues federal funds. Those federal funds are rolled over to HUD, which is a federal agency. HUD does not issue vouchers. HUD is not the housing authority. HUD is like a bank that disperses funds to every state. Once a state receives the money, it allocates that money to every county that has a housing authority. The people that you're wanting low income housing from and vouchers is going to be your local housing authority. Well, who works in the housing authority? The people that work in there are not HUD employees. These are county employees that work for the state and the county. And now, when you break that up, you have the housing authority is issuing housing choice vouchers. Now, they also have the option, besides giving you a housing choice voucher, you got Section 811, Section 504, Section 202, BAWA, HOPWA, HOPWA, all these different programs. Now, besides that, when the housing authority also owns the property or apartment complex, that is called project-based housing. When when you have a voucher and you don't want to do project-based housing, you go to a private landlord, and it thus becomes what? Anybody know? It becomes tenant-based housing. Okay, so TBH. I'm sorry. So project-based housing and tenant-based housing. The only difference is one is the county owns it, the other one the private landlord. Now then you can think about, well, what is low-income housing? Well, let's talk about low-income housing, affordable housing, and so on. They give it many different names. That is where you go to a direct private landlord. It is not tenant-based housing. It is not project-based housing, but it is LITCH, LITCH housing, and that is a tax credit property. That's where a private landlord accepts tax credits over a duration of 10 years, allocates a minimum of 30% of their units to people that are low income. You do not need a voucher to live there. But I also don't want you to be confused with that concept, because some landlords or a LITCH property, which is low income or affordable housing, but they also accept vouchers. So you see how it all kind of blurs together. So we've now discussed there's an option of project based housing. You can be given a voucher where you have the choice to move to a private landlord. You now have low income housing and affordable housing, which is also known as subsidized housing. That's three names. That's a third avenue, right? And then you have a fourth option, which is called CES. Okay. And also it's better known as coordinated entry or housing first. That system has the ability to give you an emergency housing voucher. It has the ability to give you a rapid rehousing, and it has the ability to give you permanent supportive housing. The neat thing about CES system, or the coordinated entry system, is that in most cases they're able to utilize and issue a voucher within 30 to 60 days, barring that you're not in a large metropolitan area where funding is low. So you see, there's many different systems. Everybody just thinks, oh, I got to call the housing authority. Well, look, there's other things going on. So besides that, I think that I wanted to cover in this video. I wanted to keep it short and brief. If you guys have questions, I'm going to post a couple of links here for you. I want you to go enjoy your Sunday. Pull up the Barbie or barbecue grill. I call it the Barbie. Do some grilling. If you're running this video and it's a later part of the year, yeah, it's not Easter anymore. I get that. But for today and right now, it's a live video. And if you want to know, the live video is for 4/17/2022, around 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. If you're watching this video at almost any other time, it's going to be not a live video. And it certainly won't be Easter. So, all right, let me grab these links for you guys. Of course, this will take a minute. So I'm going to include two links, our website, and booking software. This is for people that don't want to manage the nightmare trying to get through the system. Now, one other thing I want to bring up is we are running a sale, I guess you'd say. I'm not here to be a used car salesman. We've reduced some of the fees for consulting work. It's important to understand I don't sell packages, games, and bullshit. You can hire me, and I will work on your case. It's called casework for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and 12 weeks. I don't have time for all this drama. You see it everywhere. People want to sell you the gold, the silver, and whatever package. I don't do all that. So it's just important that you understand that you're buying that. We're under contractual agreement, which is a 3-page contractual agreement. And in addition to the contractual agreement, you're welcome to look us up through the Secretary of State for the state of Texas. We are licensed. We file for EIN and so on, and have so for a long time. So I don't think you really need to be worried in relation to our business practices. I know we had a claim earlier in the week. Oh, well, this is just a big scam. Well, if I had to deal with every skeptic, man, we'd be in trouble. But to satisfy that interest, I'll show you something real quick. You gotta love living in a small cabin here. This is our Secretary of State filing. We're a C Corp. This is a Texas Controller Office. And I think, well, I'm not going to show you my EIN because then y'all could file your taxes under my number and I'd owe a lot of money, right? So to kind of water down my skeptics a little bit, I don't get them very often, thankfully, but you know how that goes. So, all right, guys, I want you to go enjoy your Sunday. If you feel like you can't manage this situation or you need further assistance, we do offer that for you. I should apprise you in the federal rules that you could call a HUD specialist, okay? They'll usually answer the phone and answer questions over a 3-minute period, and then they'll hang up. You could call your housing authority, but they generally never will answer the phone. And I think that most of you surmise that there's a lot of different colorful personalities that probably don't want to do much talking. And then, of course, your final free option would be to call 211. This is a situation where we pick random people sleeping under a bridge. We give them a keyboard, and then they Google a number that goes straight to hell. That's the nuts they put over there at 211. There are not a lot of great options by design for low-income housing in Section 8. It's a sad situation, really. And 211 being the most prophetic, in my opinion. So you do have consultants out here that are willing to work with people. But, I've made a lot of videos over time. I mean, we're pushing, 600. I think if you had the time and you wanted to put in the effort, you could figure out a lot of this stuff on your own, okay? However, for those of you that just don't want to go through the pain and misery, and I got to tell you, it's a lot to understand. And just like anything else, just because I give you an engineering manual doesn't mean you're an engineer, There's always a better way to do this stuff. So if you're tired of waiting, there's a possibility. I'm not suggesting that in the city of New York is going to grant a voucher in a week, but it's certainly going to work a lot quicker than you probably would do on your own and wait 15 years, And like I said, our success rate is around 93%. So, all right, guys, I've enjoyed talking with you, and I'm looking to come up with a creative idea. Once you make every type of video, I probably made a video for every subject matter in relation to Section 8. I'm actually running out of ways to revisit it. So I'm looking sometimes for you guys to maybe suggest a video I'd like to see, because when you reach 600 videos, I think the expertise at this point, I probably made every video 8 times, So anyway, all right, go enjoy your Easter, and we'll see you all in a couple of days. Bye-bye.